But speaking of Drake Maye, one of the articles I saw on The Athletic I thought was kind of interesting, which was Chad Graff of The Athletic talking about the pros and cons of starting Drake Maye when. So he gave out 4 scenarios. You start week 1. He starts after the London game. Drake Maye starts after the bye week, which is the last bye week of the year, which is week 14. Or he sits all year. So the question is, how long should Maye sit? And that is something I want you to tell me. Tell me. You can do it on Twitter. You can do it in the comments. Just let me know. When do you think Drake Maye should start for the New England Patriots? Because as Chad Graff points out, if he starts week 1, the pros are it gives the Patriots a full year to coach and work with Maye as the starter. He's going to get the most practice reps during the week, and it will give them a large sample of film to help their young quarterback grow. Now, for the cons of him starting week 1, it is a brutal schedule. Because he's going to be facing 3 of his first 4 games are going to be on the road. 5 of their first 6 have Super Bowl aspirations. Starting Maye out of the gate could be a massive risk to the number 3 overall draft pick, because not only could you hurt his confidence, but because the Patriots have a very questionable O-line, and obviously Cole Strange is not going to be back for the first quarter of the season at least. And again, how good was Cole Strange anyway? I mean, honestly. But with all the question marks surrounding O-line, not only could you mess this up, but you could also mess up his body, because week 1, they're going to be playing the Bengals, which means they're going to be playing Trey Hendrickson. In week 3, the Pats are going to be playing the Jets, where Quinnen Williams loves to get after the quarterback, especially a young buck. And then in week 4, the Pats are going to be playing the 49ers and playing against Nick Bosa, which stud. Okay? And if the Patriots O-line performs adequately, I still expect him to be hit at least 20 times. Again, QB hits at least 20 times in those 3 games alone. So it is a big risk, I think, in my opinion, for him to start week 1. But again, he's a professional. He's young. He's 21 years old. So those are the pros and cons for week 1. Now, if he starts after the London game, he's obviously going to miss the first couple of months, because the London game takes place on October 20th. So he wouldn't start until October 27th, a day before my birthday, fun fact. But his pros of starting after the London game would be he wouldn't be jet lagged for the game against the Jets. He will miss the first couple of months, which will mean he will learn under Jacoby Brissett how he handles the preparation, goes about week to week, sees how he carries himself for right before each game day. And then his first NFL start would be at home. Which, again, at the end of the day, don't you want to start at home? Don't you want to be in front of your home fans? You can get that, energy, that burst of energy, and feel great about yourself. Of course, Boston loves Drake Maye right now. And I think we're going to love Drake Maye. As long as he can perform and he can win, I think we'll give him at least, a year to see kind of what happens. And we're not going to boo him like we booed Mac Jones. And if we boo him right out of the gate, let's say he does start against the Jets October 27th after the London game, and that's his very first game. I'm telling you, if he throws 4 picks and all of Gillette Stadium is booing him, then my worst fears have been confirmed in that we've officially become Philadelphia fans, because that's ridiculous. He's a rookie. His team just finished playing in London, and that is the biggest con for starting after the London game, because while I mentioned earlier, Quinn Williams playing week 3, again, loves getting after the quarterback, and the Jets defense is a very good defense and will be obviously a tough first matchup, but the rest of the team played over in London a week prior. So now they're coming back. They're playing at home. Yeah, great. But they're going to be tired. Their body's going to have to adjust to the new schedule. And if they're playing Sunday, that means they're going to have to fly all the way back. They're going to have to take at least a couple of days to get their body acclimated. And then they're going to have to get back to practice. And will they be ready? Will they be ready to play on October 27th? So that is the pros and cons. Excuse me. That is the pros and cons to starting after the London game. Now, if we want to wait all the way until after week 14, because week 14 is the Patriots bye, which is the last bye week of the season, what do you have? Well, the pros are you have nearly a full season to learn, with only a few games at the end to see what he can do to be able to build on for 2025. You get 4 games. You're going against some pretty decent defenses, including the Chargers and Bills at home. So let's see what you got. Maybe we can take some good, some bad, and just focus on that come the offseason, which I think would be great, right? I mean, it would make the most sense. But here are a couple of the cons that Chad Graff pointed out. The first one is obviously it's a wicked late start with only 4 games left. And the first game, so they get the bye week, and in week 15, they have to fly all the way to Arizona. In week 16, they have to fly all the way to Buffalo. So they're going to have to go from Foxborough to Arizona, back to Foxborough to Buffalo, to back to Foxborough. That's a lot of traveling right there. Go out west, come back, fly to Buffalo to come back. I mean, it's not like you're playing the Chargers, out west, and you can handle being out west for your whole bye week, and then you can go to Arizona, which is a hop, skip, and a jump from LA, and then you can fly back home. You're going to be home in Foxborough, going all the way to Arizona. So that is tough, just physical toll of that flying. Now, of course, he's going to be flying with the team. He's going to be traveling, doing all of that. And this is, again, all predicated on the fact that Jacoby Brissett is the starter and he doesn't get injured. But the travel schedule this season is tough, let alone the defenses that the Pats are going to have to face. And then, of course, the last scenario that Graff mentions is that Drake Maye sits all year. The pro being Elliott Wolf worked with the Packers. His dad was a massive influence on Green Bay's history, getting Brett Favre from Atlanta. And obviously, Elliott Wolf understands sitting Aaron Rodgers for a couple of years, letting him start. Obviously, sitting Jordan Love for a couple of years. And now he gets to start, and look what happened to Jordan Love. But, and who knows, maybe that'll work. But the problem with that is both Rodgers and Love were mid to late round picks. I think if, memory serves right, both of which were early 20s. This is the number 3 overall draft pick. And you're going to sit him for a full year? I mean, that's just kind of, that's, you're paying him nearly $10 million a year to sit because you want him to learn the NFL and learn the game, which I get. Like, don't get me wrong. I understand him sitting for a full year. Part of me wants him to sit for a full year as well, because that has its merits. It absolutely has its merits. I mean, Jordan Love, if he started 2 years ago, I don't think he'd be in the league anymore. But obviously, the con behind that is the sooner you know what you have, the better. At the end of the day, you're never going to know what Drake Maye is going to look like on the football field until you get him on the football field. Which leads me to Gerard Mayo having a couple of comments about Drake Maye getting on the field.
Somebody like Drake, more reps that aren't necessarily out here on the field with him behind center. And do you subscribe to like more is better for a young guy, or does that hit a certain point?
In my opinion, look, it's a case-by-case basis. But I would also say it's not only what's done out here on the football field. And I know when we talk about meetings, we usually talk about, like sitting at a desk and taking notes. But we have spaces inside the building where you can actually go out there and get real-life looks at, the defenses and go through the calls with coaches. So he'll get it.
So what does he mean by, obviously going in the meeting room, we're talking about studying the game, seeing the game, but what does he mean by you can get real life looks at defenses in coverages? He goes on to explain actually in the very next question.
Is that virtual reality? I only asked, I know Elliot Wolf mentioned something yesterday on a radio
show
about that.
Look, the virtual stuff is great. And that's another way that, you can steal some of those reps without being on the football field. And absolutely, we're interested in that type of technology. We have rooms in the building that have some of that technology. But obviously technology changes every single day. We're looking for.
That's it. It's technology. It's VR. It's virtual reality, because virtual reality is the exact same as being out on the football field. What a joke. What a joke. Now, don't get me wrong. There are some benefits to it. I'm not going to discredit it completely. But what I am going to say about it is, again, it's crazy to me to think that you can program a system, right? You can program a video game. Let's just call it a video game, a virtual reality, whatever. You can program that to make it fit exactly what is going out onto the field. And the simulation is real, that the players coming at you are coming at you full speed, full time. The mixing of the coverages is full speed, full time. Like, no, it's not. You can help yourself. I mean, at best, I think the best thing you can do is be able to recognize the different coverages that end up happening. But if you think that you're going to equate everything that happens on virtual reality to everything that happens on the field, I mean, come on. That's just not reality, And I don't understand. I mean, I do understand why teams are trying to build up this virtual reality system, trying to build up this virtual reality, trying to say, hey, look, you can do this. You can go up against Calvin Johnson. You can go up against, if you're a DB, you can go up against Calvin Johnson or Terrell Owens or Jerry Rice, and you can practice on them. Or, if you're Drake Maye, you can have a defensive line coming at you consistent of Lawrence Taylor, Reggie White, Willie McGinnis. What? No, that's ridiculous. How is that going to benefit you? Out on the field, how is that going to benefit you? I don't think it will. I don't think it does. And I mean, they're outside of dissecting everything, outside of dissecting what, you can see on the field, to try to play the game. Nah. You gotta get out on the field, because Brian Dawkins can be programmed into the virtual reality system. Troy Polamalu could be programmed in the virtual reality system, but they do things differently than safeties today. Who's to say that, again, the way Troy Polamalu lined himself up And this could be just strictly Troy. This didn't have to be Dick LeBeau with Pittsburgh. No. Troy could do this. Troy could line himself up as a middle linebacker, maybe a step off. And next thing you know, he's sprinting out to the sideline because he disguised a cover 2. Meanwhile, Brian Dawkins is hugging the sideline, and that's the cover 2. You know what I mean? Like, there's so much nuance to it that I don't know how it's going to fully translate onto the football field. Because you might be looking at it saying like, oh, this is how they're going to disguise it. Well, no, because Jawan Thornhill doesn't disguise a cover 2 the way Troy Polamalu does. You know what I mean? So the other question that I have is, so we're talking about Drake Maye starting, right? That's the big question. When is Drake Maye gonna start, right? And the other thought that I had was, again, the coaching staff isn't the best. Alex Van Pelt was hired by Elliott Wolf. Ben McAdoo was hired by Elliott Wolf, not Gerard Mayo. And that's where you got to sit there and go, like, shame on Gerard. Because if he knew he was going to be the next guy, he should have had every single coach that he wanted lined up. And you know what? Maybe he did. But everybody turned him down because they're looking at the Patriots roster and what was to come. And they're like, yo, screw that. That's going to kill my career, not help it. So when looking at the staff, what do they have? Alex Van Pelt as the offensive coordinator, T.C. McCartney as the quarterback coach, and Ben McAdoo as the senior offensive assistant. This is their resume. Van Pelt never called plays with the Browns except one game. Left it all up to the head coach. He was the quarterback's coach with the Bengals from 18 to 19, the Packers from 14 to 17, the running backs coach from 12 to 13 with the Packers, and the quarterback's coach for the Buccaneers from 10 to 11. McCartney, no idea who the hell this guy is. He started his career as a quality control coach for the Niners in 17 to 18, and then he was the quarterback coach for the Broncos in 19, offensive assistant with the Browns under Van Pelt, and then was the tight ends coach. I think I screwed. I think I meant to write 22, not 2020. But for the last 2 seasons, he was the tight end coach. Ben McAdoo, on the other hand, God, what a history he has. He was the quarterback coach for the Packers from 12 to 13, the QB coach for the Giants from 14 to 15. He was the head coach for 2 seasons before he was unceremoniously booted out of New York. If that man shows his face on Broadway, you can expect people to be chucking anything they have at him because of how badly he messed up the Giants. That's right. This dude messed up the Giants so bad that he was out of football for 3 years until the Jaguars came a calling in 2020 and offered him the quarterback coach job. Then, while getting paid by Jacksonville, was the Cowboys consultant. That's how you know he's getting paid by another team in 2021. And then was the offensive coordinator for the Panthers last season. Or no, excuse me, 2 seasons ago. And is still under the Panthers the Panthers contract. And so the Patriots hired him because they don't have to pay him a dime. So again, with these 3 jamokes, these 3 bums, do you trust Alex Van Pelt, T.C. McCartney, and Ben McAdoo to be able to get Drake Maye ready to go to see what, to make him a successful franchise quarterback in the NFL? If you ask me, hell no. And listen, I'm not trying to sit here and be pessimistic. I don't want to be. I want to be excited. I am excited for Drake Maye. But if you're talking to the logical sense in me, yeah, I'm nervous, man. I'm sitting there going, what the hell is this? We have no friggin' offensive gurus here. Alex Van Pelt's system is built on play action pass. It's built on the West Coast system. And while the West Coast system worked, past tense, it's been evolved over and over and over to this point now where it's like it's obsolete. The system that works is the Sean McVay system, the Kyle Shanahan system. And the system that Alex Van Pelt runs is bare bones what those systems are. And while it does help to have Jacoby Brissett, who knows Van Pelt's system, again, what are we doing? Do you trust Ben McAdoo, TC McCartney, and Alex Van Pelt to have Drake Maye not only ready to face NFL defenses, but be successful, be the franchise quarterback, be the Mac Jones his rookie year? And guess who his offensive coordinator was? Josh McDaniel. And Josh McDaniel is a very successful offensive coordinator. So that's why I'm scared. Because I'm looking at this going, really? This is what we have? These guys? Are you sure? Are you sure? Well, according to Robert Kraft, Jonathan Kraft, they're sure. So I don't know. I don't know. I want Drake Maye to work out. I really do. I just hope that these guys can get him ready. That's going to be the $1 million question. Because who knows at this point?